Our session after lunch, our third session, is going to be devoted to maybe not very obvious intersection and place of olfaction, meaning biosecurity. So in general, biosecurity is something that is very important, and we knew how important it became in the face of a recent pandemic. And it has different meanings in different contexts. And as a few examples, we can name agriculture biosecurity, which usually refers to efforts to protect food crops or livestock from pests, invasive species, and infectious disease. We can also think about biosecurity in terms of national security, biosecurity, usually referring to preventing theft, diversion, deliberate, malicious use of biological knowledge, materials, or technologies. In many non-English languages, biosecurity is not commonly distinguished from biosafety or is seen as a subcategory of it. And we have today two guests who are going to join us remotely. I would very warmly welcome, and we have our panelists that I will introduce later, but now let's focus on the remote guests, and welcome Shrestha Rath, who is a biosecurity researcher, and she's currently working in Cambridge Effective Ventures. This is an organization stemming from effective altruism movement. And effective altruism identified biorisk as a very important existential risk that we have to address and face as a humanity. So, welcome Shrestha. Can we have her on screen? Okay. Oh, and we also have Wojtek already visible. we can show both of them. So Wojtek will speak after Shrestha. Wojtek is working with data and data security. So this is a slightly different angle. And he's going to address a sensitive data and how we should treat data. Last year we had Professor Carroll as our keynote speakers, and he shared with us the importance of protecting the data and how it can be heavily misused in the context of Cambridge Analytica misused. So, Shrestha, do you want to start sharing the slides that you prepared, or I should do that? Can you?
Okay, let me know if you can see the
we
first
see the
slide
presentation.
about. Okay, right. So, let's say again, hello everyone. Let me introduce a little bit about myself. My name is Wojtek Kudlaszczyk. I've been working in A4B for the last 3 years in information security and compliance area. And today I want to speak a little bit about security and privacy in processing and analysis of the VOCs. I have some strong technical background with 10+ years in IT operations, serving various global organizations. So also having some 5+ years experience with auditing information security controls according to ISO 27001 standard. And for last year, I've been holding a position of Chief Security and Compliance Officer in A4B. So a little bit about this, what we are doing in A4B. This is important in context of the presentation. So we are working closely with biotech and manufacturing market leaders, helping them to grasp opportunities and go beyond creating the future of the industry with our products and services. We used to support our clients at every stage of the digital transformation journey with while the data is well protected and secured, of course. So we know how it is important to provide a well-suited cyber security strategy, useful in the whole development lifecycle process. On a daily basis, we know that the most important universal core security and privacy principles need to be covered with those five, let's say, five principles visible on the slide. And we know also that the most of our life science clients are focused on the systems security, and we used to help them to build systems secure by default. So if to achieve that goal, we support comprehensive security architecture implementation from idea through development phase up to the deployment phase. And there is nothing new. I have to surprise you. There is nothing new about this processing of the data in view of the analysis of the volatile organic compounds. Also from the information security perspective, even if the informations of VOCs are related with our own bodies and particular individuals. So if we are going to analyze the VOCs, for example, in the cloud-based systems, which information can be collected by, for example, by personally owned devices like smartphones, we follow to the various regulatory requirements, but mostly created to protect data subjects or individuals' data, but also the personal health information. So in this particular case, we can say we are talking about the PHR, so most sensitive information we can imagine. So there are various standards focused on that, like in United States, HIPAA, HITECH, or European Union GDPR. And for example, all the privacy-related standards and regulations are nicely grouped with cross-mapping in SCF, Security Controls Framework, under Privacy Management section. This framework is refreshed at least annually, and it's free to use, so that's good for us. And also there are various standards focused on the PII, personal identifiable information, secure processing, like ISO 27018, which is focused on directly on the personal data processing in cloud, and the ISO 27017, which focus on, let's say, general approach to the data processing in cloud. So in general, there are two possible ways to address this kind of data. For example, olfaction data collected from our smartphones. So we have to assume that the data always may contain some sensitive information about our own bodies, carried by emitted organic compounds. So the first way is to collect this data and process this data as for the statistical purposes, to build data models, for example, based on the geolocation. So in this case, there is no need to identify a particular individual and relate the data with the individuals, physical persons or smartphone owners, but the system shall be designed to handle that type of processing with anonymization of collected information by default. So that's the one case. The another way is the collection of data processed and collected from the personal device, and relate the data with the individual itself. So this is completely different story. This scenario opens a gate to personal health information, and processing on that path will require comprehensive implementation of security controls for data protection, and there are many other standards visible on the previous slide, which can be helpful with that. So yeah, that was a short introduction about the topic. Thank you, everyone. Let's stay in touch.
Thank you, Wojtek. Don't go away, because we are going to have a conversation with our on-site panelists. Okay, Shwesta, let's try to